So I'm not even sure what we were talking about during that time. All right, we're back on. Shit. All right. I don't even know what we left off at, where we were talking about Iron Man or this and that.
I think it almost cut off when he was doing the quick answers just before then.
I know where we are. We'll start exactly where we got cut off. So,
all right.
Paul Dillette.
Like a father figure, brother, relative, because we got on so good. He calls me son. I call him father. So, yeah.
Okay. Dave Palumbo.
Interesting.
Come on, we all love Dave.
Honestly. Okay, you said to be honest. Fucking Jew.
Jesus Christ.
Fuck him. Fuck Gaza. Fuck Israel. Fuck it all.
That you guys need to work that out. By the way, that's Dave.
I don't know. I get on good with Dave. You know,
good.
Even though I don't get to go on the channel anymore, it's okay.
Even though a lot of people don't know what this is, Vegemite.
Great on toast with butter. I don't know why people don't like it.
Come
on.
I can't believe you even say. I've tried it one time and I still have horrid memories of that smell. How? How do you do it?
Maybe you didn't do it properly. It's like if you're giving your missus anal sex for the first time. The first time they don't like it. You gotta ease into it. The same with Vegemite. You gotta ease into it, King. Just put the tip on the tongue first.
You grab some Vegemite and just take a whiff, and you're gonna.
I've smelled it. It's disgusting.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
All right.
Hairs on your chest.
Your favorite movie.
Oh God, I don't have one because there's too many. I tell people, but it's action.
Give me one movie that you when it comes on at 2 o'clock in the morning when you're about to go to sleep, you're like, God damn it, I gotta watch it.
The one with Anthony Hopkins where he rode the motorbike across the salt flats. The true story. The greatest little Indian or something. The motorbike. Okay. There's an obscure movie, but I like inspirational movies about people that have a goal in life. He was an older guy. I think he's from New Zealand, and he built this motorbike and he took to the salt flats to beat the land speed record. And yeah, I think it's called The Greatest Little Indian or something, because it's an Indian motorbike. And it's the true story of this guy. And they're like, you really want to do this at your age and stuff like that. And he broke the record. And yeah, it's actually a nice movie. I like inspirational stuff.
Nice. Who has better arms, Lee Priest or Rolly Winkler?
Me. Good. I'm only saying me because MD did the great
hesitate.
Lee's hard to, Lee's got the arms, man.
Because MD did the greatest arms. I was number one. I think Phil Heath was second. Arnold was third. And they've had like past Mr. Olympias and people in the sport vote on it. So I'm still sticking to that.
Yeah, they're not bad.
Even though he's a good, Phil Heath's were great. Flex Lewis had good arms and forearms. Because you got to, to me, the whole arm is bicep, tricep, forearm, everything. So some people have good bis and tries, but shitty forearms. So
Nasser El Somebody.
Funny guy. you know, if you've been around Nasser, just always entertaining. You never know what you're going to get. Sometimes he could be mad at you, but just watching him, I think one of the best times when I was in the change room with him in 98 Madison Square Gardens, and a woman reporter come in to ask him questions, just to see him belittle her and have her almost cry.
Yeah, people want to hear some nasty. People want to hear some nasty stories.
Stupid questions. Get out with your stupid questions. You ask me these stupid questions. Who are you? Go study some more. I mean, he just ripped into her. He ripped into her so bad.
So people want to hear some nasty stories without saying the same old shit.
But you'd be like, oh, what do you eat a lot? What's this? Do I eat a lot? What sort of question's that? You an idiot? You asked me, do I eat a lot? Of course I eat a lot of food. Get out of it. You're cameraman. You're stupid too to be with her.
I could give you a ton of Nasser stories too, but I think people have heard them all. One of the Nasser's famous things that he would never say, meet me at 2 o'clock. He would say, meet me at 2:02 and 13 seconds. You know, he's very particular about the time he wants to meet you. I will see you downstairs in 45 minutes and 14 seconds. That was Nasser. Lee, will you ever guest pose ever again?
I I probably would if things came back. If I had, like I said, 2 years of stem cell and growth hormone, I probably would. That's why I think some of these older guys, like when Kevin made a comeback and Flex made a comeback, I figured if you could get a few of the older guys now, say like yourself, me, Cormier, Kevin Leverone, and just say, hey, let's get in shape and just do a couple of big seminars or guest pose somewhere. Because when you're competing, they're going to always compare you to how you were. You're up against newer, younger guys. But guest posing, I think people appreciate it more to go, fuck, he still looks good at 50 odd, 60 odd, and do a seminar. So I think it'd be great to see a few of the old guys come back and do like a little tour and like the old washed up 90s crew.
I think, you know, the problem is that for me personally is I want to be remembered at my best. I don't want to be remembered as somewhat, because you know that they're going to troll the fuck out of you, and they're going to pictures will be on, because the internet is forever. You know that. So it'll be all over the internet, this and that. He doesn't have that anymore. Well, motherfucker, I'm 52 years old. So, you know, but people don't understand. All right, last question before we go on. Best advice you can give to the young bucks these days?
Be patient and enjoy it. It's like I said, people go, I want to be a pro. I want to be a pro. Yeah, that's a nice dream to have, but just be realistic with yourself. And I say, if you train hard, you eat right, you get the rest in, and you get your rest in and stuff, and you're doing everything right, and you have the genetics, it will happen. You won't have to force it. You won't have to pump a whole heap of drugs into yourself, because you just see it. People that naturally have that gift to be a bodybuilder, they just start lifting weights and eating right, and you can just see they just naturally start growing. So just enjoy the ride. If you have what it takes, you're going to get there. Now, I've got to answer this question. What's Lee's issue with brown people? I don't have an issue with brown people.
I guess me and King are a little brown.
Yeah, I've always been friendly with Lee, and
I hate you. I hate you too. By me coming on this show today, I've just lost my. I was getting ready to become the Grand Dragon. Now I can't fucking become the Grand Dragon because I'm on here with brown people.
They're going to revoke your membership card.
At the next,
so Lee's going to the Olympia. King, are you going to try to go this year?
Yeah, I actually made a promise. I was on this Persian podcast the other day. If Behruz can make his, I feel so sorry for that guy, man. I mean, what else does he have to do to just get to the Olympia? That fucking poor guy. So if he makes it, yes, that will be a very big incentive for me to get there and just. But I miss everybody. I miss Lee. I miss Dexter. I miss Chris. I miss everybody.
I'll be there because Jim Reapers is going to be there this year at the Olympia. I was meant to go to the Arnold, but of course I had those little clot things. The doctor's like, it's probably better off if you don't fly. You could, but it's better off. So I'm thinking, well, if the doctor's saying don't, because I got another trip to Italy in May, and then I got a European tour in July. So I figured I'll sit the Arnold out. As much as I'm going to miss being there and miss seeing people, I'll wait for the Olympia. So because that'll be another 17-hour flight. Because I go from Sydney to Houston to Ohio, and Sydney to Houston direct is 17 hours on a plane again. I'm like, I don't want to do it just yet.
I think, King, if you go like with the expo, you know, you're going to remember the expo like how you remembered it. Like, you're going to go and you're going to see lines and lines of people to meet people like these influencers that you have no clue who they are. They're literally like 150, 160 pounds. And there's lines and lines of people. You're just like, what? And that's fine. They built up a following. I don't have any hate towards people. You build a following, that's great. It's just last time I went, it's just a really different place. You know, you're used to seeing all the great bodybuilders with their booths and set up and lines. And Lee goes, you know, Lee's been a lot. So Lee knows how it is. It's just a very different.
I'll go to the expo too, and some of these guys are only there, it says from 10 to 12, then they're there from 2 to 4. I'm there from when it opens at 9 to 5, and that's the funny thing. I could be there, say, from 9 to 5, and at 10 o'clock, I've got this huge line wrapping around. So I might see a couple of hundred people, and then there's only like 20 people because somebody else has come in. People come up and go, oh, you don't have many people, Lee. I'm like, well, fuck, I've been here for 5 hours already. Come on. It's like, you know, to try and compare you. Oh, look at all the people overseeing him. It's like, yeah, but they've already all seen me. So I've been here for fucking 5 hours already. So
yeah, Armon, that would be a shock. That would be a culture shock for me. You're absolutely right. Because I remember Paul, the owner of Muscle Tech, used to come back and just stand back there, and he would always say the same thing to me. He'd be like, you and Jay have the longest lines. It's unbelievable. I'm like, because I'm a people person. I'm just like Lee. I would sit there from 9 in the morning till 5. I mean, I was dead. I don't know what the hell, how people went out. It's impossible. I went to my room.
I'd miss meals. I'd miss meals. Everything, just standing there shaking hands and stuff. You go to the toilet. Remember, you'd have people waiting in line, and you look at them and say, "I just got to go to the toilet." They go, oh. It's like, fuck, I've been standing here for hours. I got to take a piss. I am human. And they'd get upset. One time I was eating this bar. There was still a long line. I was with Black Skull. And my friend brought me like a Rice Krispie bar. I thought, fuck, I'll eat it because I'm starving. This guy looks over at me with a camera. He's like, this. I said, I'm just going to eat this. And the guy who was with Black Skull goes, I'll just let him eat the bar first. The guy's like, okay. So I'm eating. I think, don't make eye contact again. I made eye contact with him and he does it again. Photo. And the guy said, can you just wait till he finishes eating the bar? So then he walks down past the line. He goes, fuck Lee Priest. He won't even take a fucking picture because he's too busy eating. And he walked off. I'm like, fucking hell. You can't win.
You can't. You can't. Sometimes you just can't.
King, it'll be a culture shock. You'll be there and you're used to going and people lining up in your line to see you, King Kamali with Muscle Tech, and then you're going to see it's and I think the last time I went was 2014 or 15, and it was weird. It was weird, but Lee's used to it because he's been going every year. But it's a different place. You got a lot of people trolling there, doing the pranks and going up to boost, and everybody has cameras now, so everybody's going up to everybody, doing certain prank interviews and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So it's mixed in with a lot of, which is fine because it's entertaining. A lot of prank stuff mixed with, influencers, mixed with, I think very few bodybuilders, and then the influencers have a lot more of lines and followings and YouTubers. It's just, it's different, very, very, very different. But, at the Worlds, I heard, did you watch the show, Lee, last year?
The Olympia?
Yeah, did you actually watch the actual show or no?
A bit of it on the was I at the Olympia? Did I go to the Olympia last year?
Yeah, did you go inside? Yeah, I didn't.
No, I don't know. I just go to the expos and that. I just go back, like King said, by the time I've done with the expo and that, I head back to my hotel room, turn the air conditioner on, watch it on the computer and just, do stuff that way because I said, I don't mind going to the shows, but then just being around so much people, you've been around all day, and then you don't want to be rude to the fans, even though you're getting tired. You're like, I just want to lay down. So you still got to be, like I said, up and happy with the fans, because the second you're mean or say something wrong, it's all over the fucking internet. So just having to be, 100% 24/7 in public, like, oh yeah, hi. You just want to go and fucking relax. So once the expo's over, I go back and get room service and don't leave until I go to the expo next morning.
100%.
Lee, met you several times. He's always been pleasant, always a pleasure to meet. I met him, met Jay Cutler a few times. He's definitely not a people person, especially because you guys meet people. You understand what Lee was saying. You guys, they're standing there for 10 hours a day. You're going to have times where you're not going to feel good. You're hungry. I remember, Rich Piana, he would have lines wrapped around whatever, and, Lee, unfortunately, Rich, he's not with us anymore. I got close with him, but, he had to take, oxys, like, snort one every 30 minutes just to be there. And then he would have to literally smoke ice to, do handshakes all day. And that was his routine. And I'm sure that's kind of what contributed to his death. But I mean, it's tiring to stand there all day, Lee, and I'm sure your neck and your back.
Yeah, you know what people go through. Like I remember once I was could have been an Arnold Classic, and I had someone watching my dog, and one of my dogs got hit by a car when I was away and had to be put down while I wasn't there. And they just sent me a message and told me. So I'm at the expo and I'm like, oh fuck, my dog just died. If you got a pet you love, it's almost like losing a family member. So I'm trying to still be upbeat in the back of my head, thinking, fuck, my dog's dead. So sometimes people might have been talking to me and I'm like, huh, what, huh? And they're probably like, oh, he's a bit rude, he's a bit out there, because you don't know what people's going on or what's happening in their personal life. And you try not to let it show or come out when you're meeting people, because, they're meeting you. You're someone they looked up to. So you got to try and be nice, because you can make or break a young kid's heart by being a fucking asshole. But sometimes you just have to understand we are human, and sometimes you you know, they're not meaning to be rude, but you might just catch them at a time when something's happened, or they might have got bad news, or they're just like, you know, been there all day. They could be a bit sick and they're trying to put on a good front. So it shouldn't be too hard on them, especially if they're competing as well, because then they've got the contest on their mind. So
I want to bring up a subject because it's you know, trending right now. You know, Cali Muscle. I'm sure you guys know Cali Muscle.
oh, yeah.
He was on you know, a video the other day saying like basically he only has $1,000 in his bank account, and you know, he spent all his money. You know, I guess he was making around $2,000 to $3,000 a month, $100,000 a month with his line and his
Tony Bravo just done a thing about I watched yesterday. So
yeah. So I mean, you know, these guys, a lot of these guys that get all this big money, it's their first time to make a lot of money, and they don't know how to manage it. They're spending, you know, it on, you know, they're buying 5 cars and they're, you know, spending above their means and all this. And he was literally like at least he was honest with people saying, hey, you know, I mismanaged my money. It was the first time I had a lot of money and I really didn't know how to manage it. And, you know, all of us, we've been through times like this. We've been dead broke.
okay.
We've made our money back. I mean, it's just a part of life and part of being successful. And, you know, people got to understand. But yeah, I just wanted to mention that because people were asking about Cali, and, you know, he's coming out saying he's broke now with only $1,000. And, you know, it humbles you. You know, people have to be humbled a lot when they're out there. You know, when it all comes down to it, we've all had nice cars and possessions or watches or whatever. It doesn't matter. All these material things, it doesn't matter. It doesn't make you happier. I mean, you know, we all know that.
Yeah.
100%. 100%.
Anything else?
When I make money and help other people, that's when I'm at my happiest. Because yes, I have like the Humvee I brought for myself now and stuff, but I don't know about you, but for some reason I can go to Kmart, you know, one of the cheapest places, and there'll be a $10 shirt. They have like sometimes silly He-Man shirts with sayings on them. I'm like, I'm going to get the He-Man shirt, the Skeletor shirt. By the time I get to the counter, my wife's like, what'd you put them back for? I'm like, I don't really need them. I feel guilty about buying myself shit, but I could go blow a couple of $100 for a shirt for a mate or something and just see the excitement when I give it to him. But for some reason, buying shit for myself, I always feel guilty. It's like I go on eBay, I'm going to get it. By the time I go to check out, I fucking delete all the shit and don't buy myself anything. So it's just weird. I've always been that way. I'd rather spend money on other people than myself.
Yeah, you're a giver.
What influence did Joe and Ben Weider have on the outcome of bodybuilding contests in the 70s, 80s, and 90s? Are today's contests judged fairly, in your opinion?
I think back earlier, Joe probably had more of an influence with Arnold and that, I think, you know, being that and Dave Draper and stuff. Because even I think he admitted back then, because, you know, America was sort of still a bit racism and stuff. He admitted that, you know, putting like someone like Lee Haney on a cover would not get as many sales as putting Arnold Schwarzenegger or Dave Draper, the blonde surf guy, on the cover. So I think there was a bit more politics back then on placings and stuff, as you'd see. And that, but then, you know, Robbie Robinson won some shows back then and different things. So it's hard to say whether, I wouldn't say the sport was racist because, you know, bodybuilding is a very open sport when it comes to nationalities and colors of people that win Olympias and stuff. But I think their influence was more for like when it came to their sales of magazines and stuff on who they promoted the most to make more money for them. So
I think marketing is the main thing.
I don't think it's a racist thing. There's been bad decisions, definitely bad decisions. For Olympia, I think everybody and their mother had Victor beating Jay, you know, but, you know, you can look back and say, okay, you know, it was a bad decision, but I don't think racism had anything to do with it.
It's like Arnold. Remember 1980, people were saying Mensa should have beat Arnold in Australia. That big kerfussle that went on. They almost got into a fight backstage.
Yeah, well, he was losing by 3 points after prejudging, and then he came back to win because he claims, you know, Arnold said he went and sat in a sauna for like 3 hours, dropped water, came back that night. Now we don't know what's going on with that. I would love to have Wayne here and ask these questions. I think we could get a lot more out of him. It happens. Bad decisions happen. I mean, listen, even for myself personally, I can't speak for other people. I can speak for myself. I got the first call out at the Night of Champions, and I ended up in 5th place or 4th place or whatever it was. And everyone had the show between me and Victor. I just laughed when they gave me my placing. I looked over at Lonnie Hebrew because I knew I was going to become the people's champ. You're making a mistake. So I laughed and I went up to when I was taking my clothes off and my oil off. You know, a judge came in and yelled and screamed at me. He said, "I don't want to hear shit in the magazines. Don't open up your mouth." I said, "I'm not saying anything. It's the fans. You guys made me champion tonight. You did more for my career tonight than I could have possibly done by winning. But thank you."
Yeah.
But it happens. Shit like that happens.
Yeah, payoffs happen.
A lot of shit placings I got. I never said a word. I just, like I said, the fans say it all for you. That's all you need. The fans voice their opinion. And like you said, sometimes not winning shows, you get a bigger fan base if the fans think that you're getting screwed, whatever. So the fans get behind you more. So,
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, listen, payoffs happen. You know, a national level. I mean, Roteman, our chairman, Lee Thompson, he was taking payoffs for a while. You know, $10,000 promising people to get their pro card. And you know, Lee Thompson, we talked after he got kicked out of the IFBB, and he told me all this stuff. And he found God and moved off to, I think he lives in the Middle East somewhere, and is doing like ministry or whatever. But he spoke about it. Like, yeah, I would invite 3 to 4 bikini girls to my hotel room the night before. We would have orgies. I would promise them placings. I was taking payments. I mean, you got to understand, humans are humans. And at these shows, you know, I was judging during this time in Texas. I judged for about 7 years, and there would be times where we would have already picked, you know, winners, and Lee Thompson would come by and say, "Hey, change it to this." And if we didn't change it, he would just change it himself anyways. And, you know, I got into it with him at one time. I said, "Lee," he goes, "it's chairman's choice. If you don't like it, stop judging." And people have got to understand, you know, they've cleaned it up a lot, you know, especially since Lee Thompson got out of there. And I know Roteman out of Atlanta, he was doing that a lot, charging like 10 grand for, you know, telling people, "Yeah, you'll get your pro card to this show." And some people did, some people didn't. It's just a part of it. You know, a lot of these judges, people get into it for different reasons. I started getting into it because I wanted to see what went on behind the scenes, how it worked. And I did. And I understood, you know, how it worked. And, you know, people are people. They're taking money. They're not making money judging. They take advantage of it, whether it's sex, money. It's just part of it. It's part of every industry: sex, money, payoffs, all that kind of stuff. Because people are always asking, politics this, politics that. Hey, my coach knows this judge. Yeah, it happens. It's part of it. But, you know, Tyler and Mannion and them, they've you know, they really try to clean things up.
Yeah.
Since he's came in, you know, you couldn't judge your clients anymore. They put a lot of rules in place where this stuff, you know, especially when the Washington Post thing came out about all the women. I think we talked about it, Lee, I think on RX when the women came out all of a sudden talking about.
I think all that stuff's still going on. I know, because I spoke to Wayne only a month or so ago. And I think a lot of stuff's still going on, that RICO case with all the tax evasion and stuff. It's all public knowledge online if you look it up, but that's still all going on, all that stuff with the IFBB and the tax and whatnot.
Yeah, it's always going to, you know, there's always going to be stuff like that. And, you know, people don't know, go on behind the scenes. You got a lot of people competing and they get discouraged because they do a local show and, you know, this coach knows this judge and they're friends and they don't do as well. And you'd be like, listen, this is bodybuilding. It's subjective. Whether, you know, someone's doing it because they're friends or they're paying money. If you don't like it, don't compete. It's just part of it. Like we said.
In all walks of life, you look at government, you know, government give contracts to people know and get handbacks. That's in all types of business. If you've got a business, you might give your mate the job if he's, you know, applying, you know, putting in a tender for a job. So it happens in all walks of life, in all sports, everything. So not just bodybuilding. There's politics involved in everything these days. So
yeah. What was Lee and King? I don't. You can answer or not. What was the dirtiest thing or most devastating thing you dealt with in judging that you kind of look back on, like, you know, like you knew what happened or there was a payoff or something like that?
Paul, like it's on my documentary, the 97 Olympia, when I was 5th and Paul was 4th and Kevin was 6th, and Kevin was backstage devastated with Mannion. And then by the time we got to the Queen Mary, people were like, "Lee, sorry about your placing." I'm like, "What do you mean? I got 5th in my first Olympia. I didn't you hear you got moved down to 6th. Paul got moved to 4th, 5th. And Kevin got moved from 6th up to 4th when the show was over. I still got my 5th place certificate and fucking crystal fruit bowl, but never got the 5th place check. And I think Paul had Wayne by the neck on the Queen Mary because he lost 20 grand from going from 4th to 5th. Yeah, so we never understood how the placings changed after the show.
What about you, King?
Yeah, the Natty champions in 2000. Same story I just told a couple minutes ago.
Yeah,
Just
yeah, I was on the the national level. I mean, I remember I did North Americans one year. I think I told it before. I've told it before, but just since we're on the subject, I got an email. I think 3 weeks out. Say, hey, I'm big a fan of yours. I know you're competing with North Americans. Would you like to hang out? For whatever X amount of money after the show, have dinner. Yeah, sure. And the guy was like, are you cool if we hang out a little further and do some kissing and cuddling? I'm like, oh yeah, I'm sure, great with kissing. No, so I was like, no, I'm sorry, but that's too much for me. I'm not interested. And so he's like, well, good luck to you. I'll see you at the North Americans. I'll be judging. And at that show,
Yeah.
Columbo, Dave was helping me out, and I should have. That's when Sean Roden got his pro card, and I should have probably got second or third, and I got eighth at that show, and he was kind of giving me a smile, like it is what it is, and it happens. But what can you do?
You should have had a little kiss and cuddle. You could have got it.
I'm like, yeah, I don't mind. A lot of kiss and cuddling doesn't hurt anybody.
I got one for you, Armon. This
other saying to get ahead, you got to give it.
I was at the 99 Nationals when I got my pro card. I was laying down behind one of the booths in the expo of the Nationals, and my mom was knelt down right next to me, and she was just like comforting me. And this was after prejudging, and we're waiting for the night show to start, and I saw the two judges, which I'm not going to reveal the names, walking with Aaron Madron past me. They didn't see I was laying down there, and they were already congratulating him on the overall, telling him this is what blah, blah. And my mom and the people at the booth looked back at me, and I just smiled. I just shook my head, and I'm like, well, Mom, what can I do? There's nothing I can do.
Nothing. If you spoke out, you would get blackballed usually.
Just knowing the fact that there's other people out there that heard and saw that, plus my mom, that meant a lot to me. But it is what it is. And then, of course, Aaron, I have nothing against him. I love Aaron. He disappeared, and I did what I did. Yeah. So karma is
the person there where Bob says I was never expelled. I was expelled for life because I couldn't even go to an IFBB show for 7 years. I couldn't even go and do an expo. I couldn't even. Tony Doherty wouldn't let me into IFBB shows to watch my friends compete. But what Bob says is the IFBB Pro League never suspended the league, which is true because the old IFBB suspended me. I got the letter from Harris Kagan saying I was suspended for life. So technically Bob's correct because the new one, because they split, Raphael and them split, the new one, technically, no, never suspended me. So Bob's playing with words there, but yes, I was suspended. I couldn't even go to expos. They wouldn't let me in.
What's your guys' biggest regret? If you could go back in time, like one of the biggest mistakes you probably regretted, and whether it be with a contract, with competing, or whatever, your biggest regret in bodybuilding, if you could go back in time.
I've always said it wasn't competing or contracts. I said my biggest regret, I've always said it was when I was with Kathy LaFrancois, a great bodybuilder. We used to get on like a house on fire, perfect couple and that. And then 5 years into the marriage, I went guest posing and met Adela Garcia. Thought the grass was greener on the other side of the fence, which it never is, and cheated with Adela. And Adela and I ended up getting together and getting engaged. But just when I cheated with her and went back home, I couldn't. Because I'm one of those people, I never had one night stands. I never cheated. If I'm with someone, I'm with them, So going back home, I was like, my mate's like, don't say anything. I said, I can't this fucking guilt. So just telling Kathy what I had done. Of course, she thought we had the perfect marriage, and just seeing the way it crushed her and she fell to the floor crying. I always said, hurting someone that bad, I said, that was my biggest regret, just seeing the pain I caused from cheating with another person. So
I remember my first show was the Lee Priest Classic in 2002. I think, Lee, you were living in Austin. That was my first show. Yeah, when I was 18 years old. And I think you were with Adela at that time. Was it Adela at that time? Yeah, because I remember backstage I said, what's up to you? That was my first show, the Lee Priest Classic in Austin.
We had nice leather jackets there. Tony Novak that used to make the Arnold Classic jackets made all the jackets for the Lee Priest Classic and stuff like that.
Yeah, I won the teenage division, but yeah, that was my first show. King?
Leaving Virginia to New York and marrying the wrong woman. I could stay to when I had my family, my friends, my gym, my routine, my restaurants, everything I need, go through the MPC, become a professional, kick ass in my first pro show. Everything was set. And then when I went to New York, it was such a shock, and everything starting all over again. It was just one of the hardest things. And when you don't have your mate, your partner, back 100% and constantly hating on the industry, it killed me. So
did she compete? I don't really know. I know. I remember Barbara. That was your girl a long time ago. I don't remember. Was that her?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't remember your ex-wife. I don't remember her, but I don't know.
That was her. Barbara's my ex.
There wasn't another one?
No, it was just one.
Oh, okay.
You're not me, King. You're not on I'm on my 5th marriage. Come on, keep up.
No, let me tell you something. If Jesus, aliens, Muhammad, Buddha, okay, it doesn't matter. If they came down, I'll never get married again. Not a chance in hell.
Yeah, it's just too hard these days. I mean, we were going to talk, do an episode eventually about guys these days, and women, not knowing how to read women or whatever. We talked about it last episode, King, and it's hard for these young guys.
Yeah, but if you, like I said, if you're in bodybuilding and you do find the right partner, like I had with Kathy, in that way she understood it because she was competing and training and stuff. Guys, don't fuck it up. Yes, you're always going to see a pretty girl sometimes, or you're going to think this, but trust me, it ain't worth it. You're thinking with the wrong head, because the troubles it's going to cause. If you're in a steady relationship where everything's good, fucking enjoy it, because we've all been in those ones where you're coming home, and just coming home, there's tension in the air. You don't want to be in the house, so everything suffers. It's like that feeling like you just shouldn't be in the relationship. So if you've got a good woman and that, stick by her and treat her well. It's like whatever you did to get her, keep doing that through the relationship. Don't let it die, because we take them for granted. They're always going to be there, but you still got to treat them special through the whole thing.
Yeah.
A lot of times women are worse these days, though. The guys are actually doing good, and the women are out, doing, OnlyFans or doing sugar, daddies behind your back, and the guys are.
The girl said I was too nice. You're too easy. I'm like, what do you mean? I just can't go after you. You're not a challenge, because if I ask for something, you do it for me, you get it for me. I'm like, yeah, because if I can do it and I can get it for you, why wouldn't I? If I enjoy doing it, well, that's not a challenge. I'm like, oh, fuck, I can't win, can I? If I didn't do it, you'd probably get mad at me. So I'm like, fuck.
Of course.
So many come from such toxic relationships. So if you're not arguing all the time or fighting, it's not normal to them. And, it's like that whole toxic, makeup sex and just relationship. When you, when you mature and get older, you just want to, like, a good person, a good partner just to spend time or spend your time, life with. And it's hard these days, especially the dating scene out there. Are you still dating, or you just have fun?
No, I'm having fun, but what I've experienced in the last 3 years has been absolute insanity. I've never seen they all have mental problems now. They really do. Every single one of them has mental problems. But I met one. Unfortunately, she's married, but she would be my best match ever. And she lives in San Diego. She knows exactly who she is. And for 3 days, we got to know each other, and that would have been a perfect match for me. But it's just there's something wrong with them right now. There's something seriously wrong with them. And I think the problem is exactly what Lee just brought up. It's social media and the scroll. It's become so easy just to do this, just to scroll to the next one, because they think that there's something better out there and not. People just don't go out on dates anymore. People don't talk anymore. No. It's on the phone. This is what I see all the time, and that's why I refuse to be that person. You will never. If anyone can ever catch me in the gym with my phone, I'll give you $10,000 in cash. The only time I whip out my phone is when I want to listen to music while I'm doing cardio. That's it. That's
exactly. And that's the thing too. Back in our day, if you had a problem in a relationship or whatever, you talk it out, work it out. But like King says, now if you get into an argument with a girl or vice versa, they go, fuck you. Oh, this guy here, he liked 10 of my photos. He sent me a message. I'm going to move on to him, rather than work out the problem with the relationship. They're like, oh, I'll just move on. This guy likes me. Blah, blah, blah. So it's almost like a throwaway society of everything. We just move on rather than work out the problem you got now, because you're just going to carry it on to the next relationship, and the next relationship is never going to change. So.
There's always some schmo guy out there willing to fly a girl out somewhere and pay them to, you see all the girls in the hotels and taking the fancy pictures, but you don't see the guy taking the pictures, the big fat guys with the money and all that. And, you get in an argument with a girl or something, a couple of my, really close friends, they're dating, they're probably in their early 30s. They get in a fight with their girlfriend, and their girlfriend goes off and, sleeps with some older man with money. And, it's like that. You've got hundreds of men messaging these girls like constantly on, IG or whatever you want, whatever you're on these days. And you get an argument, they go on there, oh, well, this guy will treat me like this. And they go off with this guy. And most of those girls down the line, they regret it. And then they call you and like, hey, you're like, dude, you went off with this dude and cheated on me and did this and that. Like, see you later.
But then they use that reverse psychology. It's because you weren't paying me attention. It's because it's like, don't blame me. Don't blame me for doing what you did. It's like, people can get you mad. My mum used to say, because I'd always say that, oh, he made me do it. My mum's like, people can say and do whatever they want. How you react to it is on you. No one can make you do anything. Your reactions and how you behave, that comes down to you, nobody else.
I saw a great podcast that they said it perfectly. A lot of 4s think they're 6s and 7s and 8s.
Oh, dude, tell me about it.
That is the major problem. And then when you look at them, you're like, you're a 4 at your best with makeup on and everything done. You're a 4, but you think because you get these horny guys coming and saying, hey, you look hot, you look this, you think you're a 7 or 8. You're not. That's the problem. Insane,
Key. I see it all the time. You're like, this girl's a 3. But the problem is guys are giving them attention like they are 10s. Mm-hmm. And that's the problem. The guys are a lot of the problem too. You got all these guys, just, throwing themselves these girls, giving them all this attention. I'm like, they don't deserve the attention. Let's, forget looks and all that. What happened to finding a girl that has a good education, has a good job? They don't want to find that. Like we've talked about, Keen. They want to find the fast, easy money, get on OnlyFans, make $50K a month, or, go hang out with this guy, get 10 grand for a weekend. They don't want to put in the hard work. But in the end, those girls all are, like you said, they're all messed up in the head that do that.
Yeah, the last one I dated, I think I told you this before. Every time we went out, it was the same thing. It was $600 to $800 every night, and I would come home like, what the fuck? What? And I only eat Michelin. Michelin. Yeah. Well, go take your Michelin and shove it up your ass. I want a big fat steak. I don't want a little chunk of fucking.
And a little swirl of mashed potato and a slice of carrot.
I don't know what are you talking about? It just got to a point where I just said, it's, whatever. There's a billion of them out there, and I like my mom always says to me, she goes, you become a lot like really cold. I'm like, no, I'm just dealing with reality. That's it.
Women make you like that. You give your emotions to someone, and they do that shit. And what else are you gonna be? I mean, the online dating stuff, I don't know if you do that, King, but like online dating sucks. Like I met a couple people on online dating, and those 2 girls literally almost ruined my life. Like the shit they pulled. So the online dating is just, meet people in person. If you go out or whatever you're going, whether you're the gym or church, the grocery store, wherever, you're going to meet people. This online dating shit's weird. And
my technique is very, very effective. Okay. I have hot 10 girlfriends, friends that are mine, not girlfriends, but friends. I go out with them. I'll call them up and like, let's go out to dinner. Okay. So I walk in with a 10, she's walking with a good looking, studly Persian guy, and we get all the attention in the world. And at the end, to me, that is a better time than going and wasting. I just can't do it no more, man. And I have I'm envious of Lee for having a wife and getting to the point where he is a giver. That's one of my main characteristics too, Lee. I get more pleasure out of giving. I buy somebody, and then I see how excited they get. I get a kick out of that. And a lot of people say, well, that's a weakness. It's not a weakness. It's me just being happy with what I want. It's like Shaq right now, you know, with all the money and everything. Every time he leaves the house, he's made a promise to himself. He buys someone something.
Yeah.
You know, and I guarantee you that brings him more pleasure than when he buys himself a fucking custom Bugatti. What's that Bugatti going to do? He's going to drive it around for a week and he's going to get tired of it. I know it because I've done it myself. I get something like, okay, that was great for a week, but now.
And imagine, like I said, the price of a Bugatti, you know, say it was $1 million. Imagine $1 million knowing that you could help so many families and get them out of debt and make those families' lives easier. To me, you can't put a price on that. So I'm the same way giving. And this person that just asked, yeah, I had a normal job when I was younger. I used to clean factories until early hours of the morning. I used to service fire equipment. But then I became a good bodybuilder and car racer and won championships that I got sponsors. And when you say you don't have a job, I just traveled overseas every day doing seminars and shit. So you're still working. It's not like you're on holidays and stuff. So I do have a job. Don't hate me because I still got sponsors and don't have to work 9 to 5 like you, Larry.
Yeah, that is a job. That is a job. That's your sponsors. That's a job. You're going around and people's paying for Lee Priest, all the hard work you've done over the years for seminars. You're traveling there. You're taking time away from your wife. You're traveling there. You know, giving people that's called work, people. It's not because you're clocking in at a 9 to 5.
Major reasons why I started to have problems with my ex-wife. She would go to work at 6 o'clock in the morning at the commodities exchange. I would wake up and eat, sleep, go to the gym, come back, eat, sleep, and then go pick her up. Well, I wish I was living your life. I'm like, do you realize what I had to do to get to this point? Do you realize what it takes when I start to get ready for a show that I become a monk? I can't do anything. They don't get it, man. They don't understand. And now, especially now, when I'm at 50 plus, and this doesn't feel good anymore. This bump right here hurts. Okay. There's a bump here that hurts a little bit. You paid your dues to get to a point. Lee Priest paid his dues to get to a point where he can travel and just show up someplace and shake people's hands and get a big fat check. It's called paying your dues, douchebags.
Yeah, and like I said, I feel my wife, she gets up at 3:30. I get up with her and make her coffee and that. She likes working. She manages a tobacco retail store and that. She doesn't have to work because I make enough money. She doesn't have to, but she just likes the independence of doing it. She likes to make her money. She works from 5 to 12:30 lunchtime pretty much. And I say to her, you want me to do anything? But she's like, no, you do the vacuuming. I do all the housework. I like it. I like vacuuming and doing the laundry and shit. She goes, no, you do all the stuff around the house and stuff. So sometimes I feel guilty because I know she's standing on her feet and I'm sitting at home or going to the gym sometimes. She's like, no, she goes, it works well what we do. So yeah, she's all for it. Like I said, she enjoys her job and having her money and stuff and whatever. But yeah, I always people think, like I said, oh, you get to travel the world. Even when we used to compete, remember, people go, you get to see the world. You're like, on those European tours, you saw the airport, the fucking venue and the hotel. And you're up in the morning getting on another plane. It wasn't like you got the fucking sightsee and go around places. It's like
shit. For the first fucking 5, 6, 7 years, Vegas to me I didn't see anything. The hotel, I saw the venue, I competed, I did photo shoots. I had to sign a Muscle Tech contract saying that I'm not going to eat food for a week because I got photos. That was, I don't know what the hell people are talking about. Vegas? What do you mean Vegas?
Yeah.
A wonderful holiday.
You do a show and you got a contract. Even I was doing it. You do a show and you got a photo shoot with Iron Man. Then the next day is Muscle Mag. And then the next day is a Planet Muscle, whatever magazine. You're not seeing much. You're going there. You're competing. Then you overtraining for 3 days doing all these photo shoots. So you don't get a lot of stuff. See a lot of stuff when you travel.
That chicken place that was across from what was that chicken place called in Venice?
Kookaroo.
Oh my God, that sauce! I'm telling you, that sauce had crack in it. It had to have crack in it. And then you're sitting there doing a photo shoot with Irv Gelb, and you're like, you can smell it from across the street.
Oh yeah.
Come on, man. Let's get this over with, man. I got to eat.
And the good thing, too, because the breast was still on the bone, it was always tender, too. It was always tender.
Please stop. Oh, that was so good. That chicken was the best chicken
But did you ever go over to Marina Del Rey to Jerry's Deli over there where the menu was like this big? And I had so much shit on there. I had to make myself that sick eating.
I went there with Bob Ciccarello one time, and we were sitting there, and I got a big on my shoulder, and I looked back, and it was the Big Show. And he goes, I respect what you guys do. I respect what you guys do. And he walked away. I'm like, was that the fucking Big Show? He goes, yeah, it was.
Lee, have you ever considered coaching in bodybuilding?
I've done a couple of people, but to me, I don't know. It just seems so basic. I remember giving a guy a diet once and stuff. He kept hounding me. I gave him one. I said, and he looks at me, he goes, "Is that it? That's basic. I could have done that myself." I'm like, "Yeah, you could have, but you asked me to do it, so now you got to pay for it." It's like, to me, it just seems like the average person. Yes, sometimes these ones that want to be bodybuilders, it's like I've always said, if you got what it takes, it's going to happen. So just train hard and do whatever. You don't really need me to hold your hand. Like if you're just the average person, yes, they need to be shown if they just want to lose weight for themselves. But sometimes training people that want to be bodybuilders, they get too gung-ho and it's like, now what drugs should I take? It's like, fuck, you haven't even started training yet. Let's just get into the training. So sometimes that sort of attitude where they just want to know about the drugs and this and that. It's like if your mentality is all on the drugs, that says a lot to me, and I'm not really interested in training you. If you want to learn about the training and the nutrition and doing all the hard work, and then if you have the what it takes, then put the drugs in and you get somewhere, fine. But you know, when you give them something, they're like, "What about drugs? I need a cycle." It's like, okay, yeah. It's like, nah, haven't got time.
You know, with coaching a lot these days, since me and Key coach a lot of people, it's not only like writing the diet. Like, you know, we check on our clients. How are you doing mentally? Because a lot of times, you know, they need that check-in. Like, hey, like you haven't got pictures in a couple of weeks. How are you doing mentally? Check on your mental state. Because a lot of these people, they don't have people to look up to or mentors or the people, friends to tell them like, hey, man, you're messing up. Get back on track or whatever it is. So a big part of coaching too, I mean, you know, I know you do it too, King, is you get involved with your clients. You become, friends with a lot of them. How are you doing? How's your mental state? Are you doing this? Are you checking your blood pressure? Are you checking your blood sugar? Are you keeping healthy? Are you doing your blood work? Are you donating blood? It's a lot more than, you know, giving these diets out. And people don't understand that about coaching. It's really involved. And you know, that's why, you know, it takes a lot of, time and effort to coach people. People don't understand, especially these days where, you know, people don't want to listen to what they said. Oh, well, I heard on YouTube that, you know, you need to take this much. I'm like, listen, if you're hiring somebody to trust that person, like Lee said before, trust in the process and listen, go do the show. If you don't do show with the little Steve Lee told you whatever to take or whoever tells you to take, go hire someone else afterwards. But listen to whatever they tell you to do. Trust the process. And if it doesn't work out, then you can go hire Joe Smo or whoever you want to hire.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. People don't realize you being positive to keep other people positive can be draining on you and stuff. So, but Larry wants to know if I've been married 5 times, would I maybe some self-reflection and consider that you're the problem? No. My first wife cheated on me, so I left her. The second wife had a job in that, and then she left her job, and I was doing everything for her, paying for everything, take her with me when I traveled, and all she had to do was cook me some meals, and my meals ended up being, here's a bowl of fucking Cocoa Pops and shit. I'm like, you're just taking me for granted. So no, it wasn't me, Larry. I'm pretty easygoing and laid back, but if you're going to take advantage of me and just fucking use me and shit, you're out the door.
People blame it on the guys a lot these days. It's like the girl can do nothing wrong. It's always the guy that caused the divorce or the girl didn't cheat. You know, girls cheat more than guys do. When girls cheat, they blame that.
They take it to the grave. Like when I cheat, I had mates that cheat. Eventually, if she keeps hounding you, like, oh, fuck it, okay, I cheated, you give in. Girls will tell their girlfriends, and they'll take it to the fucking grave, and they'll even turn it around on you somehow. Then you feel like, fuck, what did I do? Like,
that's what you need to watch out for. If your girl's like, you're cheated on, you doing this, watch your girl because she's probably cheating on you, and she's paranoid because you know she's asking all these questions. So guys, watch your girl. These girls these days, they're out there, man.
Yeah.
They're working. They're working.
I miss you. I miss you. I miss you a lot. Then they get off the phone and go out party with their girlfriends.
We talked about this earlier. Prime King Lee with Keon. So this YouTube is going to be, since it interrupted or whatever happened earlier, we'll put up 2 different YouTubes since it got interrupted during half of it. But we talked about it in the video earlier. We talked about it in depth. You know, Lee versus Keon, the whole thing back and forth.
My answer to this is exactly what Lee said. I'm going to go with the horse's mouth. He said, you got to put us standing next to each other.
Mm-hmm.
This is bodybuilding. Put them. You can't judge by pictures. You got to put them. Everyone who saw Dorian in pictures stuff, they said, oh, he's blocky. He's this. But when you saw him on stage standing next to them, he looked like a piece of granite next to them. It was different. You want to know who would win between Keon and Lee Priest? Okay, get Lee Priest to go back in time to stand at his prime. That's how you would know.
There's no other way to tell. And there are the lights. People are putting the pictures next to each other, then posing. It's impossible. Like these kids that don't understand. In living color, when you're there in person, it's totally different from pictures. Like when we do the play-by-plays, King, for the Olympia, the Arnolds, we're just watching what the screen shows you. We're not up front with the judge or Weinberger looking right up and seeing what they're seeing. It's completely different, and all we can do is give our opinion of what we see.
I love to be texting people who are there while we're making those assessments. I'm like, are you seeing what I'm seeing? No, King. This motherfucker's on the money. You don't see it. I'm like, yes, don't. We're not seeing what you're seeing.
Well, how many times have you been at a show too and you watch one on stage, but then it had that big TV up there, and on the TV you're like, fuck, they're 10 times as shredded on the TV as what they look on stage. So you can't, unless you're there, you can't, like you said, you can't get a proper, you can get some sort of feel for it, but not exactly how it's going down if you're not there.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are biased. They got, they're a fan of someone, a very fan of Keon. You got no other person can be a Keon because they're a fan. And I get it. You're a fan of that person. You support that person and all that. But, it's 2 different times, 2 different eras,
It's like when people used to get mad at me, like I won a show once and it was like, I can't remember which one it was. I won it, and whoever got 5th, they did an article and they were just going off, I should have beat Lee, fuck this, blah, blah, blah. I'm thinking, whoa. I said, wait a minute. I said, I could understand if you got 2nd, but you got 5th. I was 1st. You didn't beat the guy that got 4th or 3rd or 2nd. So why are you saying you should have beat me when there's fucking 3 other people between us? It's like, fucking hell. It's like, complain if you got 2nd, but fucking 5th. Come on.
Look, I think Lee gets a lot of criticism. You block these people because they don't stop. It's like one time they ask you one thing and they keep on and on and on and on. It's like they don't give up.
Here. Knight Rider's from Dave's board. Knight Rider, I call him Dick Rider because he always goes on about me. I hate Lee on the show. I hate them. Don't watch the show, Knight Rider, but here you are again. And the thing is, like Armon said, look, I love trolls. I'll argue back and forth all day long. But it's like I said, when you become boring and you keep saying the same stuff over, steroid, tattooed face, midget, blah, 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 it's like, if you give me like new context and something to argue with, I enjoy it. But when you just repeat the same stuff for months and months, then I'm going to go block because you're boring. But if you can keep the insults fresh and new, I'll keep you on. But when you just keep repeating the same stuff, and Knight Rider, that's all he ever did on Dave's show. Or Lee's on again, can't stand when Lee's on, then don't watch. It's that simple, Knight Rider. It's like, come on. Duh. And he's like, Lee keeps wanting attention. I'm like, well, Knight Rider, in this last thing on Dave's show, you mentioned my name 20 times. You're giving me fucking attention, you dickhead. Stop mentioning my name.
Lee, on Instagram, I've blocked about 6,000 people.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You got to.
People.
But the thing is, like, Lee, you got your profile erased. What they'll do is they'll go report your profile over and over and over. And even though you're not doing anything wrong, that will hurt it'll hurt your algorithm, and it'll eventually hurt your profile.
I've lost 2 Instagram accounts that got deleted from people doing that, just reporting me over stupid shit that I never did. And then you get in that mode where you post stuff and people can't see it, like you're in that ghost mode and shit. People can't find you. Yeah, happens all the time.
And they'll make 5 more profiles, like troll profiles, and come back on and
exactly.
do this.
I got the one profile, like, you know who I am, you know who King is, you know who Armon is, you see us, we use our real name. We don't hide behind fictitious names and fake photos or your account set to private. Just like when people insult me on Instagram when I'm live, I go to invite them on. If they abuse me, I'm like, I'll invite you on so we can talk face to face. Always decline. They never come on. So I was like, you make yourself look like a pussy. If you're going to insult me, at least come on and let's do it face to face for a laugh. But no, they always decline.
They'll never come on. Like I invited a kid on from TikTok.
Armon, this is actually a good question. Read it.
Yeah. Dave on RX was hell bent that IFBB athletes should be given a free membership to gyms. What's your guys' take on that?
Dave got mad. Dave got mad at all you guys on that one.
Well, we have different opinions. We talked about, like, let's say me and King talked about it before, like the business model in the US and all that. Like, listen, if you you can't give a pro a free membership because they're a pro. There's too many pros these days. There's not elite pre Kamali where they're gonna go to that gym. It's those times don't exist anymore. And a lot of the gyms, they don't want certain bodybuilders there.
No.
They really don't, because they bring drama or they think they're gonna sell steroids out of there. But if you're someone like the whole Patrick Moore thing and all that, if you're someone that's bringing that gym, like, I know, like, one gym I came over to, I talked to the owner. I was like, hey, I'm bringing 30 people over. Is it cool if, I train for free? He's like, oh, yeah, dude, if you're bringing 30 people over, absolutely. So if you're bringing that business money, it's one thing. If you're coming over just because, oh, my name is, whatever, but you're not bringing business over, you got 2 clients, it's not doing the gym any good.
No.
Agreed.
And every time I go to a gym, I never expect who I am. I never did. I just walk into a gym if I'm in a new town. I'll pay the casual visit. Sometimes the manager will recognize me, go, oh, here's your money back. I'm like, no, you keep it. You got a business to run. I never take it for granted. I just go in. If they recognize me straight away, oh, hi, Lee, you're right. You can go in. I always offer to pay. I say, you're sure? I don't mind paying. So I've never been one of those people, do you know who I am and that sort of thing. So, yeah, I'm always happy to pay because that way, too, I find sometimes I've been to gyms where I haven't had to pay, but then it's like, hey, Lee, we've got an open day. Can you come on down? It's like, oh, shit, yeah, I better do it now. It's like you're obligated. Whereas I figure if I'm just a normal paying member, I don't feel like I owe the gym anything. I can just go and train and be myself. Because normally when they say, can you come for an open day? It's like, okay, I better do it because you give me a free membership. So sometimes I'd rather just pay to be like any normal paying member.
Oh, yeah. Lee, has anyone ever came up to you in person that's trolled you online?
Never.
No,
once.
they never will.
I'd be a hitman's wet dream. I go to the same gym at the same time, roughly. I eat at the same places. If I'm touring, I'm going to be at the Arnold Classic or Olympia. Lee Priest will be at this booth from 9 to 5. I'm easier to find if you want to find me. It's not like I'm hiding anywhere. So if these people really wanted to get me, I'm easier to find.
I had one incident where nobody came for me too. I had one incident. This guy was claiming to be, a mixed martial artist. He's going to kill me. So I said, okay, I will be at the Las Vegas Gold's gym from this time to this time training. I'll be there with my boy G Money. We're there. Blah, blah. Okay, and the greatest thing on earth happened. I showed up. I was working out. I get a tap on my shoulder, and guess who it was? It was Phil Baroni, the New York UFC fighter. And he said, I saw that message that they sent you. I'm here. If you need me, you let me know. I was like, you're the best, bro. He goes, but nobody came. And then Phil afterwards went and he blogged and he goes, you guys need to shut the hell up. UFC fighters, real MMA guys don't talk like that. Bob, embarrass yourself. And I never heard from that guy again. That was the only time. That's it. And
that's you guys know what's going on with Phil Baroni? Do you guys know what's going on with Phil Baroni now? Because he got that murder charge in Mexico.
Yeah, I know. I haven't heard
like a year or so back. And he says he didn't do it. Like he killed, I guess, this girl in a hotel, supposedly, but I don't know whatever happened with the story.
Nope. But it's like King said, just for a change, the last 2 years I was doing boxing, haven't done it because I've been a bit sick for a couple of months now. And just the cardio fitness boxing takes out. I put up a little video. Oh, yeah. Someone goes, oh, you think you're tough because you're boxing? I've been boxing 10 years. I'll knock you out. I'm thinking, well, if you've been boxing 10 years, I hope you should be able to knock me the fuck out. Because I'm just doing it for cardio. If you're doing it as a sport, you should be able to. To me, that's dumb when people they do it for a profession. They're like, I can knock you out because I'm a trained fighter. Well, you should be able to fucking knock me out, dickhead, if you're a trained fighter.
Yeah, Boston had something really good to say about that on the Joe Rogan podcast when he said, it's like, he goes, of course we're going to be able to kill people because we're trained fighters. He goes, it's like me going up to LeBron and challenging him to a one-on-one. He goes, it doesn't make sense. So don't talk like it. It's just stupid trolls out there. Real people don't trolls do.
You can't fight anymore either. You're going to get shot. You're going to go to jail. I mean, it's just like
it's never like the old days, one-on-one. It's like these days you fight one, then their mates jump in. You're on the ground. You let the guy get back up. Now you're on the ground. They're fucking laying the boot in and shit. There's no more like even as bad as fighting was, you still had some sort of rules. And generally, in the end, in the old days, if you got into a fight at a pub here, once it was over and done, we could shake hands and go buy him a drink. That was it. But now it's not like that anymore.
Any reason why King was invited on Armon and Aceto with the Patrick situation? So Dave called me 20 minutes before the situation when it was just him and Aceto, and then Patrick came on. I was falling asleep during, like, when Dave called me. I was like, "Yeah, sure, I'll come on." And then that was a total setup. And then I got tired of I just got tired of the Patrick and Aceto, and I just sat back. I was like, "I'm done. I'm checked out." Like,
Yeah,
I'm not even going back and forth
about stuff like that's a personal thing between Armon and his
Right.
Patrick. He calls me up when he wants me to do the Arnold or the Olympia. Those are the big 2 times.
And people thought I was friends with a gym owner. I never knew the gym owner. Thought people thought I had something against Patrick. I had nothing against Patrick. I knew him, before that. Patrick even still sent me a message the other day on, he's like, "I'll slap you this." I'm like, "Dude, are you still on this shit? Go worry about the Arnold, dude. Like, grow up."
Chris come down on your heart like crazy.
Time he even comes close to doing anything like that, he's going to end up in jail. So,
he's going there.
He don't come down on you. I'm on hard. There's like, well, here you are reporting this and reporting that. I'm thinking, Jesus Christ, Chris, what crawled up your ass all of a sudden? Fuck. It's like
I blew it away. Like, this guy says, as much as respect I had for Aceto, I lost every respect of him when he defends Patrick's cheap tactics of ratting on the gym owner. Me and King, we had a whole episode of that. Then we brought it on to Heavy Muscle Radio and all that. I mean, you get attacked for snitching on somebody. That's not you can't. That's not okay. Patrick's defense was like, "Oh, well, I'm not part of the bodybuilding community. I got a this and a late." Dude, if you call yourself a street guy, you don't snitch for gear. We've all sold gear. We've all handled gear. Patrick takes gear. You don't know how many messages afterwards I got from people that just love Patrick, that said Patrick did this and this and this. Did I go air all those messages? No, I left it alone.
Exactly. Those that live in glass houses, as the old saying goes, don't throw stones.
Yeah. So that's over with. Patrick, he has a great physique. That is, but he has some growing up to do. He's 40 years old. You can't go around fighting. Don't play like there wasn't going to be a fight. You gotta grow up at some time. And we reported on it. Like, me and Kings told the story before that even Aceto thing even happened on there. We told the whole story with video, with text, with him talking to the cops and everything. We laid the whole thing out. So people didn't watch that. When I went on the show, I already laid the whole thing out. I didn't need to defend myself when Aceto was just like, "Aceto, you don't even know the story. You're defending the guy just because he's your client."
Yep.
Anything else, boys?
Nah, man, this was a good one. This was
very good.
Lee, I'm glad you're doing well, brother.
Thank you. I'm gonna try.
Don't get
yesterday off again.
Be priest around.
Yes, so it's like I took a couple of days off the gym, then I went back 2 days ago and only went light. But even going light, it must just be that mentality. I'll do a lot more reps and squeeze it. Then the next day I'm like, I don't feel good. When you just almost feel good and you push yourself too hard, then you're like, well, maybe I should have waited an extra day. So I took yesterday off. So I'm gonna go do something light today and then get my hair cut. I might take this just to see if I get a pump going light.
You will. You'll like that. Yeah, just take a cap of it and see how you feel. You'll like it. No stimulants is any of that shit. I hate stimulants too. I think I sent King some stuff
I don't
out
like
too.
that. I forget what I took once. It was like a pre-workout. And I mean, I've done those days of tried MDMA and that. And I swear to God, that's what it felt like. I was on the treadmill. I'm getting lightheaded. The room's starting to go. I'm thinking, fuck, I'm going to pass out. I got to stop this. And I actually had to leave the gym. My head was that fucked up. Can't remember what one it was. I'm thinking, how the fuck could anyone train on this? I'm thinking, this is ridiculous. I'm thinking too, yes, with the jab people got and caused blood clots here and there, but I'm thinking heart problems. I'm thinking, has anyone done a case study? I know there's things popping up lately, but you figure back in our day, we didn't have pre-workouts. We had coffee, and then I think ephedra come on the scene for a bit and aspirin. But it's like, you think now, kids that are like 25, 28, they've probably been on energy drinks and pre-workouts for 10, 15 years, starting at teenagers. You must think that must do something to your heart, all those stimulants from a young age going all the way through. I see.
Armon knows the stats perfectly. How many?
Yeah. My wife works at the heart hospital. She has patients. She she's a PT at the heart hospital, and she rehabs these people, and so many there are for energy drinks because these guys, you know, slamming 3 energy drinks in a day, and these pre-workouts these days, we're reformulating. We used to have one. We're reformulating another one. I hate it. Like I can only take like 1/4 a scoop, and I feel like shit. But people love that shit. But I always tell people, like, you could take it maybe once or twice a week, but these kids build immunity on it, and that is literally worse for your heart than taking these huge gear cycles, because it's like taking cocaine or, you know, speed every day. So
like you said, 1 scoop, then you see them 3 and 4 scoops, then you see them dry scoop it, then you see these fucking idiots making videos snorting the shit. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Fuck.
yeah. Any more tattoos, Lee, before we go? This guy wants to know.
I say no now, but then occasionally I think of something. But then when I start getting it done, I think now I'm getting in the mid-50s. They hurt more. I'm like, fuck this shit. Never used to hurt this bad when I was 20.
You can get anesthesia now. All these rappers, they go under full anesthesia to get their whole back done or whole sleeve done.
Fuck that. I'd rather still feel it. I got to go under anesthesia. I got to get eye surgery in March again. And every time I go under anesthesia, I'm like, oh, they always say you might not come out of it. I'm like, oh, it's like, do I really want to go under?
It's scary. Well, Lee, thanks for coming on today, man. I will love to have you. Love to have you on again. But you guys have an awesome day. Lee, what is it there now? Like 9:00 a.m. and Friday?
9:15 Friday morning. So yes, I am coming from the future, people. This is what the future looks like. Pretty shit.
All right, you guys have an awesome day. Thanks for coming on, Lee. Have an amazing day, King. Peace out, guys. Iron OGs. Later, guys.
Bye.
Peace.